What's up, everybody? Welcome to the 615. As you see, it is Championship Baseball Edition, and we're being joined by Coach Brandon Bassam from Eagleville High School. And yes, as you see, they were the Class Single A state champions. And we'll be back to talk about this incredible season with Coach Brandon Bassam here in about 60 seconds. And we're going to bring our guest in, Coach Brandon Bassam. Coach, welcome in to the show.
Thanks, Lee. Appreciate you having me. Excited to talk about some Eagleville baseball tonight.
And as you said, what a year Eagleville had.
Really was unbelievable. I've told several people, I guess, the last few months, and it just seemed like it was our time. A lot of things can go right, but to go 37-2 and have the year we did, just truly was incredible. And it's still fun to look back on and talk about it 44 days later, that's for sure.
And as you said, 2 wins or 2 losses, that's a hard thing to do in baseball.
It really is, and something else that I thought the whole year was impressive was, as you can hear the huge thunderstorm behind me here. I think the first poll I saw, I think we were either like 10-1 or 11-1, and we were ranked number 1, and McKenzie was ranked number 2, and that ended up being a Christian championship game. So for those guys to add, to have that pressure all year long of being number 1, we never came out of that spot. So, to play with that, and then I think we won our first 11 and had a loss, won the next 4. Had our second and last loss at 15-2. Then the win the last 22, like I said, in baseball, which is it really. They're crazy or stupid, however you want to talk about it. It really was phenomenal.
And of course, I just got a message back from Coach Brewer. He will be in here in just a few. But as while we're on him, man, who was that catcher? Was it Winters?
Ryan Winters, yes.
And what a class act he did in the state championship game, and you're fixing to see it here. But that handshake, man, what a classy thing to do.
Still gives me chills to see it again today. And, of course, I'm watching the fly ball, so didn't see it live, but saw it, when people replayed it later. But that moment to me describes Ryan's senior year, kind of had an up and down junior year. I was banged up a little. We kind of went back and forth a little with how much he should play or not play. You always want your catcher to be fresh at the end of the year, and he wanted to play every day. But, I think he ended up hitting 548, I think, with 63 hits or something like that in 39 games. So that play exemplifies the year he had. It really does. And so that's definitely one of my favorite moments from the championship game.
And let's go ahead and jump into some stats that I went and pulled up on you guys. Outscoring your opponents 351 to 111. And that proves, hey, Eagleville has some hitters.
Yeah, like I said, to me, the thing that made our lineup so incredible is because 1 through 4 was seniors. Carter Rockhold, the shortstop, led off, and then Winters hit 2. I said at 548. Nate Brewer hit 3, which I think was at 450, but with 15 homers. And then Tanner Mabry was 4. So right around 300, but had 7 homers and just seemed to be really clutch. And then 5 through 9 just had a knack of, finding a way to get on, whether it was hit by pitch or walk or whatever it was, single, double, and get that lineup back to the top. And then, it just worked together all year. I think I look back and I think 7 of the 9 spots in game 1, were in the same order they were in the championship game. So that's just truly incredible that that lineup was that consistent all year long, which leads to 37-2 in a state championship.
And our second guest, here he is, Coach Mudcat Brewer, who is in the MTSU Hall of Fame. Coach Brewer, welcome in.
No, I appreciate it. Glad to join you guys.
So as we were just talking about, what a season Eagleville had.
It was, however many days after it's over, here we are in mid-July, and I still think about it often and think, did that really happen? It's just phenomenal season. Good guys to coach with, good players to coach, good fans, great support from the school, and everything just kind of clicked. And and like Coach Bassham said there, 37-2, and no superstars on the team. You know what I mean? Just a bunch of blue-collar kids that after a few wins, when they got to the ballpark, they expected to win, and for the most part, kind of unchallenged at times. But even the games where, we were behind and you look up and it's the 5th inning, somehow they found a way to do it.
And as we were looking at before you came in, here some of the stats. Outscoring your opponents 351 to 111. And as I said, I think right when you came in, Eagleville has some hitters and only losing 2 games in the process.
Yeah. There's a lot of stats that are crazy. Obviously the runs scored versus runs allowed. The postseason run scores versus runs allowed was insane. The number of home runs that we had versus the number of home runs given up. What was that, Coach Bassham? Maybe 44 home
34
runs
to 2, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's insane.
And then
it wasn't just hitting, it was pitching too,
Oh yeah. And of course, Nate Brewer, what a season Nate had.
Yeah, that's it's I don't know what to say, man. It's you said it. He had a great season. It's he just kept doing things that were like, well, this is going to end. Whether it's a home run or whatever. But it just kept happening, and he did. He had a great season, but there were many that had great seasons, and they may not have had the home run numbers he had or whatever, but they had great seasons, and that's what it takes to put together a record like that in the state championship is everybody knowing their role and doing their job and doing it exceptionally well.
Lee, let me add this in here. Last year, Nate started out really slow. I think after 12 games, near 200. And so then if you take his last 20 games last year, I think he ended up at 396 or 398. So if you take his last 20 games from a year ago and add into what he did this year, you're talking about in 60 games, he probably hit 500 or above with 22 home. I mean, just like I said, unbelievable stats. And that's why he was Mr. Baseball this year. I mean, truly an incredible 60-game run, to be honest with you.
And so the day before, something incredible happened. And so we have to give a shout out to Eagleville softball also. State champs. And last year they were close. State runner-up last year.
Yeah, huge congrats to them and super proud of them. And, man, what a weird day it made for us, Of course, the other bracket was kind of a day behind because of rain at Rockvale. So we know they play at 2 o'clock. And if Peabody beats McKenzie at 10 a.m., then we play at 2 o'clock on Saturday also. So, and sometimes things just kind of work out. And so we go to the facility to hit. And McKenzie's got a 7-3 lead in the 7th, and Peabody scores 4 to tie it at 7. And then we're kind of sitting there. We're finishing up our hitting. Coach Brewer's throwing BP. The guys are pumped and ready to go. And McKenzie scores in the bottom of the 7th, which adds that second game on Saturday for them, which pushes our game to 1 o'clock on Sunday. So basically all of our kids at that point leave to go to either the softball championship or the McKenzie Peabody game. And some people went to both, like or kind of split it. So I said, congrats to them. What a day. But I said the whole thing was just, as he said, 44 days later, the amount of time that I still talk about it and think about it really is amazing. It really is.
And let's go ahead and go to the other huge stat for y'all. 12 shutouts and 37 wins.
I'll be honest with you, that's one I don't think I'd even realized, until you brought it up. But I said all year long our pitching was really good. I think you probably got to start with the two sophomores that started most of our district games, in Braden Baker and Josh Jeffcoat, both which will be back. Colton Daniel, came in and threw a lot of relief or starts on the weekend and threw really well. Will Friedenwright, another senior, that threw a lot of innings for us. And then, of course, you got two guys that threw the state championship game who hadn't thrown in, I think, 6 weeks and 8 weeks, because of either injury or resting or trying to get well. And that's, of course, Nathan and Tanner. And those two really could have been our 1 and 2 all year long. But, from different circumstances, we kind of hold those guys till we need them. And I said that's the two guys that throw on Sunday in the state championship. So just a total team effort. And as Mudcat said, the whole thing is just really crazy or stupid. But, just the contributions we got from all around were just really spectacular. It really was a team effort, no doubt.
And I tell you, Lee, another thing too, our pitching was really good, and we take nothing away from that. But some games that stick out in my mind when you go back to, I think you said 12 shutouts or so. You got a team like Forest, who was a really good team. And we didn't know it at the time. It was early in the season, but we'd come out in the first inning and hit 3 or 4 homers in the first inning, and get up maybe 4 runs. And that's what we did. That's what we did all year. We'd come out and smack somebody in the mouth in the first inning, and all of a sudden that team becomes a different team. Their confidence wavers. The pitcher all of a sudden isn't making good pitches. He's throwing balls down the middle, things like that. And so it's just a combo. It's a combo of things. And these two sophomores, I truly believe, are going to do really good things. I think they're going to have extremely good careers at Eagleville and continue to do what they're doing, maybe to a higher level. To duplicate the offense we had this year, which sometimes shuts down, the other offense, it'd be hard to duplicate that. That's what stands out so much in my mind about what these guys did. Just seems like it's almost like every game except like 2 or 3, they did that, and it's like it's going to end. It's going to end at some point. We're going to have a bad game on a mediocre pitcher. It just didn't seem to happen really.
And then outside the 12 shutouts, the one huge stat that jumps out at me on paper altogether, 22 straight wins, concluding with McKenzie.
Well, kind of as Coach Brewer said, and here's the other thing. I think our defense probably didn't. Did we make errors? Sure, every team makes errors. You look at a major league game tonight, and there might be 2 or 3 errors in the game, but we made some errors. But also when we had to make plays, it seemed like the defense made plays. And kind of talking about that, being ranked number 1 all year long, you worry about going through a stretch where you don't play well or the offense kind of shuts down or goes in a slump. And then that's what made this team so special. As you look back and you got a 1-0 win, you got a 10-9 win in extra innings, you got a 6-5 win where you trailed 5-0 to a really good Riverside team that was in the AA championship. So I said this team just did it in so many different ways on any given day. You just didn't know how they were going to do it. We might score 12 and win 12-6. We also might score 2 and win 2-1 or 2-0. So, kind of made it fun as a coach, of course, when you're having that success. But just I said they did it all across the board all year long, literally, and that's what made it so fun.
And then so I've been looking. So y'all head into tryouts in 10 days.
Yeah, we go back July 22nd. Matter of fact, we kind of had our first open facility type today. Because a lot of our kids play in June anyway, and of course we played on Sunday, May 29th, and so that was basically Memorial Day weekend. We didn't get a lot done in June anyway, so I basically give them June off. So we had about a half a dozen guys there today that just, came in to hit or throw or whatever. But like I said, in 10 days, you have tryouts, you form your 2023 team that's going to try to somehow defend this thing, and you go at it again. And that's what coaching is.
And so, of course, I know this was short, but to the 2022 Eagles, man, congrats on this incredible season. And it's a testament to what y'all are doing there, is that y'all were able to do this.
Well, I'll say that, and again, Coach Brewer's, moving on with Nathan as he goes to MTSU to go watch him, and we totally understand that. But, I've said all year too, not only have one of the best teams in the state, but I think it's one of the best staffs, if not the best staff in the state, with Coach Brewer, Coach Williamson, Coach McCleary. They all do such a great job. And that guy right there is a great, hitting instructor. I can either kind of throw BP or kind of watch hitters. He does both at the same time, which has always impressed me. And, there's no doubt we'll miss him and we'll miss all those 6 seniors as we try to somehow defend this thing. But again, this team will be remembered forever, no doubt about it. So we look forward to getting together here in a few weeks and try to celebrate this thing and, get fitted for rings. And I think all the things that are still ahead of them. And of course, I know my son leaves, I think 37 days, not that we're counting that down or anything, as he goes to college. So, they kind of go their own separate ways, but they'll always be remembered as the 2022 Eagles. And that's what makes you feel so much pride. And, again, it still gives me chills, although it was May the 29th and we're still talking about it today.
So, Coach Brewer, do you have anything to add to all of this?
It was, for people that are watching, I think they probably already know this, but it was one of the most thrilling rides in baseball that I have had as a player or a coach. It's different as a player, but definitely one of the most thrilling rides. It was a great bunch of guys. I'm going to miss them tremendously. I'll be there watching some games, of course, maybe come hang out with them. But just it was something else lately.
Well, I know this was short, but thank you to both of y'all for coming in, hanging out, talking about this incredible season y'all just had.
Thanks, Lee. I appreciate you having us on, and best of luck to you as you keep this going. And again, appreciate you having us very much.
Appreciate it. And Eagles, they'll be back in 2023. You can mark my word. They'll be back pushing that state tournament again.
And of course, me and Coach Brewer have a little bit of a past from my time at Eagleville.
Right.
From, I think it was 2014, 2015 time frame.
Right. Yep. Yeah, that's right about the time I came in there at Eagleville. Yep.
Well, thank you to both of y'all for, as I said, coming in, hanging out, talking about y'all's incredible run. And as Coach Brewer said, Eagleville will be back.
Don't put too much pressure on us now, guys. Easy.
There you go, Coach Bassett.
Thanks, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Y'all will get them there.
Well, everybody, we are going to make a few quick announcements. Next Wednesday, we will be joined by Ryan Harris from the Jump Pass podcast next Wednesday evening at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then the week after, we're taking some downtime, getting ready to head into the season. And then on August 9th, we will be joined by former Titan safety Donnie Nicky, who played his college ball at The Ohio State University. And then we're going back to the 1980s, joined by former Houston Oilers wide receiver Mike Holston, as he comes on, trying to get a few stories from his time there in Houston. Of course, if you don't know, he played with the likes of Warren Moon, Archie Manning, Dr. Doom, Robert Brazil, Elvin Bethea, and Warren Moon. And that all those will be taking place over the next month, roughly. So as I always say, stay classy and tighten up.